Stand by for an important announcement from the Aperture Science Emergency Surprise System. Deploying surprise in 3, 2, 1.
When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad! I don't want your damn lemons! What am I supposed to do with these?
On March 1st, 2010, the video game known as Portal released its first ever update, along with a strange message replacing its description on Steam. Changed radio transmission frequency to comply with federal and state spectrum management regulations. A new achievement was also added to the game, simply titled Transmission Received. Intrigued by this update, fans of Portal began playing the game to find out how exactly you could receive this achievement. Not long after, players quickly realized there was an increase in radios added to the test chambers, and moving them from their designated location would reveal something extraordinary. Before the update, the radios would play music wherever you move them, but after this update, a red light was added in the center of the radio. Moving it around would scramble up the music. If you took it to a specific location, the red light would turn green. Once the light transitioned to green, we would hear a bunch of random noises or a series of beeps. These could be decoded into either an image or a sentence using Morse code. There were 26 radios in total. 22 of them were decoded into images, while the Morse code translated into these 4 sentences. Interior transmission active, external data line active, message digest active. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. System data dump active, user backup active, password backup active. Beep, 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 beep. Beep beep. If you use Morse code again on that final sentence, it reveals 3 letters. L-O-L. Someone managed to find the audio files within the game's assets, revealing each one to be called Dinosaur 1 all the way to Dinosaur 26. The name Dinosaur may be a reference to the book Dinosaur Alphabet by Harry S. Robbins. Harry S. Robbins was a voice actor on Half-Life. Putting aside that Half-Life and Portal take place in the same universe, there are also 26 radios to decode, which is the same amount of letters in the alphabet. Dinosaur Alphabet. Also adding to that, one of the sentences decoded from the radio was "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog." This sentence features all letters from the alphabet. It was used as a way to test out typewriters and make sure that all buttons were working before they used it. In the dinosaur images, the numbers 2, 4, 7, 13, 16, 18, 20, and 25 all appeared with 4 separate images on them. Each one of these small images contained a letter or number. Putting them in order from top left-hand side to bottom right gave us 8 codes from these 8 images. These were eventually arranged into one big code by further clues hinted from the other dinosaur images. This code was then converted once again using MD5 hash. This left us with a number. At first, it looks like an ordinary phone number, but trying to call it from a phone or landline itself would lead you nowhere. It was later discovered to be a bulletin board system number, otherwise known as BBS. This was hinted at from images 3 and 10. For those who don't know, a BBS was a somewhat predecessor to the internet. It was commonly used in the 70s and 80s where people would chat and send images to one another. The only way you could join one of these BBSs was by a number, and that's exactly what happened here. By calling this number using a phone and 56K modem, you'd be sent into a terminal, and then presented with a username and password that reads GLaDOS login. Typing in backup for the username and backup for the password, which was stated in the previous puzzle, will log you into GLaDOS's backup account, revealing the text Aperture Science Laboratories, GLaDOS 3.11. Copyright 1973 to 1997. Aperture, all rights reserved. Inside the account, we also find several pieces of art hinting at future things to expect in the Portal 2 game, including memos from the CEO and founder of Aperture Science, Cave Johnson.
Just want to remind you that Aperture Science is built on 3 pillars. Pillar 1, science without results is just witchcraft. Pillar 2, get results or you're fired. Pillar 3, if you suspect a coworker of being a witch, report them immediately. Cannot stress that enough, witchcraft will not be tolerated. A lot of you have been raising concerns about the so-called dangers of what we're doing here. The bean counters told me to tell you that as of today, testing will no longer be as mandatory or as dangerous. That's not gonna happen.
Some of these memos actually made their way into the official Portal 2 game, whether it be part of the main story or from the DLC.
Hello, test subject. Cave Johnson here, founder and CEO of Aperture Science, the best damn applied sciences company on Earth. How good is the science here? Get a load of this. I'm dead. Now, you're probably asking yourself, Cave, how is that possible? Are you some manner of Dracula, or a Frankenstein, or, depending on your cultural heritage, a Blackula, or a Latin Frankenstein? Science isn't about why, it's about why not. Why is so much of our science dangerous? Why not marry safe science if you love it so much? In fact, why not invent a special safety door that won't hit you on the butt on the way out, because you are fired? I like your style. You make up your own rules, just like me. Bean Counter said I couldn't fire a man just for being in a wheelchair. Did it anyway.
2 days later, a second update to the original portal took place. This time, the description changed to added valuable asset retrieval. The valuable asset the description is referring to is the protagonist of the Portal series, Chell, a woman being forced to take test after test in Aperture Science laboratories. At the end of Portal, we see Chell finally outside of Aperture Science. While she may be unconscious, she's finally out, as the screen fades to black. However, in the new update, an extended cut of this scene sees Chell being dragged straight back inside the facility. The scene fades out before we discover who's dragging her. Although the question can be answered in this Portal comic. Most people tuning in will most likely already know about this particular comic, as it features a very popular character in the Portal fanbase, a former Aperture Science employee known as Doug Rattman.
A truth so strange, it can only be lied into existence, and our minds can lie. Never doubt it.
As far as I'm aware, he is the only employee to have escaped after an incident that took place on Bring Your Cat to Work Day. He's also the reason why Chell was the protagonist in the first Portal game. There were thousands of test subjects that GLaDOS was preparing to use before her. That was until Rattman secretly pushed her to the top of the list, as we see in the comic. He believed she was the only one capable of taking down the rogue AI.
How did you know about the girl?
Know what?
That she was the one.
Something in her file.
She had the highest IQ?
No, somewhere higher.
Then she was the fastest? The most athletic?
No, nothing like that.
Then what?
A hunch.
Doug has been hiding in the outskirts of the facility ever since. You can find several hidden areas within Portal and Portal 2 that appears to be a hideout where Doug spent several days or months before moving to another location. Over time, he lost his mind due to the fact he no longer had access to the medication he required. At the start of this comic, Doug Rattman witnesses Chell being dragged back inside by an escort bot. Throughout the comic, we see him save Chell and place her in stasis to keep her alive and safe until the system came back online. Continuing the topic of Doug Rattman, Valve released a statement on the 5th of March 2010, a few days after this stuff went down, finally announcing the release of Portal 2.
Valve creators of the best-selling game franchise, such as Left 4 Dead, Counter-Strike, and Half-Life. The leading technologies, such as Steam and Source, today announced Portal 2 for shipment this coming holiday season. Portal 2 is the sequel to the 2007 Portal, which won 70 Industry Achievement Awards. Maybe you've heard of it. Golly gee.
Several letters were underlined, and putting them together would create D. Rattman and Honey, with a 0 instead of an O. D. Rattman was a new username we could use for the BBS, and Honey was the password. Signing in would give us access to another file dump with even more art and strange imagery hinting at this upcoming game, including a classified email potentially from CEO and founder Cave Johnson examining his 4 types of new test subjects.
Hobos and tramps. Lives spent wandering aimlessly, cowering before authority, and drinking concussive amounts of home-distilled potato alcohol make hobos the perfect human enrichment test subjects. Child orphans and foundlings. Deep-rooted abandonment issues leave most orphans highly susceptible to shame-based psychology. For a complete list of opportune moments to obliterate the esteem of test subjects, please consult training video number 89D. You'd perform this test better if you had parents. Psychiatric patients. Past experience shows that these fellows are simply not shy at all about carrying on, disturbing tests, and defecating just about anywhere that pleases them. Seniors. Frail, brittle hands make holding science devices difficult. Most were born before the advent of science and can become confused and disoriented when asked to participate in a relatively simple test.
The game slowed down shortly after this file dump. However, across the months to come, there were a few extra things to take note. Gabe Newell, one of the masterminds behind this whole thing, appeared at the Game Choice Awards in 2010. At the end of his speech, he explained that the Portal crew had put together an alternate reality game that fans were currently solving. He then went on to say he will answer some of these lingering questions still left in fans' minds. However, when he tried to get the PowerPoint to work, the blue screen of death appeared before us.
We'll start off by doing an update to a 3-year-old game and plant clues throughout this so that they can figure out that something's going on and decode satellite data and so on. And so I wanted to touch really briefly on that and answer some of these questions that are in the minds of our fans about what we're going to do. So I'm going to go and talk about that next. Okay, this isn't working. So that's what I get for working at Microsoft.
A few boos occurred before people realized what it said on screen. GLaDOS. After decoding the puzzle, it basically said the game was going to be on hold until further notice. We wouldn't hear anything else until 2 months later, on June 1st, where publishers of the press received an email from Aperture Science themselves about a surprise at an upcoming event.
Dear subject name here, Aperture Science is pleased to inform you that we have partnered with Valve to announce the gala cancellation of the June 14th Portal 2 event at the Regal Theater. The event will be replaced by a surprise, and even though the cancellation of the event certainly counts as a surprise, we are pleased to further announce that the cancellation of this event is not the surprise. However, per international treaties regarding the definition of the word surprise, of which both Aperture Science and Valve are signatories, the time, date, and content of the actual surprise will only become available as you experience the surprise. Thank you for... The surprising record scratch is also not the surprise.
The main surprise turned out to be Valve announcing that Portal 2 was going to be on PlayStation, despite Gabe Newell stating that he wasn't going to do that.
Our next guest has spent the better part of a decade developing some of the most critically acclaimed franchises, and we're really pleased to welcome to the stage for the first time...
Stand by for an important announcement from the Aperture Science Emergency Surprise System. Deploying surprise in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, my name is Gabe Newell, and I work at Valve. Now, I've been pretty outspoken in my comments about the current generation of game consoles.
There was one more part of the ARG that took place on April 1st, the following year, although this one was technically a different ARG altogether, called the Potato Sack, and was unrelated to the one we just discussed. 13 games appeared on Steam with Portal references hidden around them, and users had to play through them to uncover clues. A lot of stuff happened here, but nothing story-wise that we could dive into, but you can explore its wiki page if you're interested in hearing more about it. A month later, Portal 2 was released, and the journey had finally come to an end.